He is the biggest loser ever, but he has a story behind the story. He talks about what went on there, but he also tells you about some things that were going on behind the scenes.
It's the Channel Mom Show with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Every kid is unique, and every mom wants to capture that uniqueness on film. Bring your family's memories to life, supersized and gorgeous. Just click Turpin Portrait Gallery's ad to the right of this video to get your summertime promotion for kids and families.
So today, this is such an odd introduction, and I don't know how he feels about it, but we have the biggest loser ever from The Biggest Loser. Now, if nobody knows what that show is, they're thinking, oh my gosh, what a horrible way to introduce somebody. But he really is the biggest loser in all the best ways, and he has written several books, one with his wife, Losing Big, and one called Lose Your Quit, which I cannot wait to read. And he's also a motivational speaker and a musician. We are blessed to have Darci Cahill and his wife, Darci, who says her full-time big job is as a mom, so she's the perfect guest to be on the show as well. So Danny's here to tell us all of his weight loss journey stories, and maybe help somebody else out there today who needs to hear this, and just to motivate you, period, in your life. So welcome to the Channel Mom Show, Danny and Darci Cahill.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are glad to be here, and I'm going to tell you, it's been hard hooking up with you guys. So this is going to be a great show, I know.
Yes.
This has been hard for us to get on the same schedule.
Yes, it has. Something's been fighting us, I believe. But yes, I too believe it's going to be awesome. Okay, bottom line, both of you, and Danny, why don't you go first? What is it that you think that you want to tell the world? You've obviously got a platform now because you lost more weight than anybody else has ever lost on that very popular show, Biggest Loser. It was 239 pounds. Is that correct, Danny?
Yeah, it was 56% of my body weight, 239 pounds.
56%. Wow.
That was only, it took me a whole 6.5 months to do that.
Yeah, right. And you did it very quickly. So now that folks know how much you lost and that you were the biggest loser ever, and it's a huge accomplishment, you have a platform. How do you and Darci feel about that platform? What is it that you think you've now been called to do? How are you helping people with this platform you have?
Well, my goal, I felt like I was in a hole that I couldn't get out of, being 460 pounds at one point. And my wife had many of the same feelings with me being there and us being in the spot that we were in. My goal from watching after watching The Biggest Loser and using that path to get healthy again, what I want to do is give other people hope and inspire other people to understand that they can too make a change. It's not hopeless. I mean, everyone feels hopeless in some area of their life, whether it's in their weight or their marriage or their dreams and goals or an addiction that they have. And I'm here to say there is hope because I'm living proof there's hope. My wife is living proof there's hope. I mean, we were about to divorce 6 months into our marriage, and here we are about to celebrate our 18th anniversary.
Yeah. Darci, do you second that?
I do. I second that. I think that what I'm most excited about is just God has given us an opportunity to tell people that you can choose to love through things. We all have stuff going on.
Yeah.
No one's perfect, but God's grace is sufficient.
Yeah, and you had to find that out in a big way, no pun intended. I mean, what you had to go through was huge. I'm going to play just a little bit of sound, if you'll pause for a second, of the day that you won The Biggest Loser.
You're looking at 27, Danny. Your current weight is...
Can you just tell me, Danny, what your exact feelings were in that moment when you realized what you'd accomplished?
Well, standing on that scale, it was a very tense moment, and it was tense for so many reasons. I had been 210 days straight. I'd been working out about 7 hours a day, and I was exhausted. My wife was exhausted. My family was exhausted, and we knew that December 8th, 2009 was D-Day. It was the day that everything came down to that moment on the scale, and then it was over as far as The Biggest Loser is. But what began after that was a whole new chapter in our life. And so standing on that scale, I knew that if I won The Biggest Loser, that it was a win for all four of us in our family. Because there were so many people that played a part in doing in supporting me during The Biggest Loser, especially my wife, who, when I left for 3 months, stayed home with the kids. She lost almost 70 pounds while I was on the show in those 6 months, which is just unheard of without, she didn't have The Biggest Loser or Jillian or Bob yelling at her.
Yeah.
She did it on her own, and she toed the line at home and kept everything going, the bills paid, while I was gone achieving that dream of being The Biggest Loser. So I knew that, number one, it was a great thing because I knew that we could use it to give people hope, but I definitely wanted to share it with my family fully and 100% because they were the reason I even was there in the first place.
Yeah, I'm glad you recognize that. And Darci, what was that like for you, those days on your own? Did you have moments where you thought, how can I do this? How can I be trying to lose weight on my own? How could I be, he's getting all the help and all the recognition. How can I be doing this, running the household, paying the bills, raising the kids while they're giving me lip because daddy's gone? I mean, seriously, did you have your moments, and how'd you get through it? And how'd you lose that weight on your own?
Well, this is what's really interesting about our story. When I dropped Danny off at the airport, it was Mother's Day of 2009.
Yeah.
And when I drove away, I remember feeling like a million weights came off of my shoulders. I knew that God had answered a prayer. This prayer had been going on for a year and a half. That he would get on the show. And it was really God's grace in our life. So when he left, I felt like God just told me, it's time for you to lose weight. I was a size 24, and I went home that day, and I got every bit of junk out of my house. I just threw it away. I was like, this is it. It's time. And it was the easiest weight loss I'd ever had.
Wow.
I lost 47 pounds by the time he got home, because they do the show.
Yeah.
They're there sequestered, and then they finish the competition at home. So by the time he got home in the Final Four, I had already lost almost 50 pounds. And
was that a surprise? Did he know?
He kind of knew, yeah. There were moments along the way that he knew I was losing, and that was my way to support him. I was like, I can't be there. The show is very authentic. You don't, unless they win a phone call home, you don't talk to him. You don't know what's going on. So I thought, how can I support him? And it was losing weight. And honestly, I do truly believe it just was the grace of God to get through it. And I had so much help at home. I had friends helping me with the kids. So when I went to work, my kids were taken care of. My mom was here. His mom was here. I mean, we had a whole support system. We had our church. I mean, it just, I don't know. It was really actually a very peaceful time because I trusted that he was on the ranch and he was supposed to be there, and that's where God would have him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, I was working, yes, taking care of the bills, cleaning, taking care of the kids, doing my thing, but God just let it happen.
Yeah, it sounds like
it feels like a whirlwind.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like a divine setup in many ways, and like the answer to long, hard prayer. This didn't come easily. I mean, you prayed for a year and a half and waited and struggled, and so this was sort of the end to all of that, right?
Yes.
And, I want you both to know, December 9th is my birthday. So that's kind of cool to me that was the day. I read that last night when I was reading through your bio, that you had that victory. I think that's awesome. So happy birthday to me and happy weight loss to you. I saw a show about you guys and I thought, oh my goodness, people have no idea what they overcame. So can you tell people kind of where your life was at other than being, 250 pounds overweight?
Well, yeah, being 460 pounds would be enough of a weight to carry. But I had so many years of believing I was a failure in so many ways. I had gambled. I had a gambling. I'm a very addictive personality. I have addiction issues. Mm-hmm. I wasn't 460 because I just liked food. It was because I'm addicted to food. Yeah. And but and I've had that relationship with food since I was in the second grade. I can remember the last year I was thin and healthy was when I was 7 years old in the second grade, and then when I went to the third grade, I immediately gained weight and had a battle with the food for the rest of my life. Wow. But not only have I struggled with that, I was an addicted gambler, and I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to do so many detrimental things to my life, which in turn affected my wife and my family's life. Yeah. So I had gambled ourselves into about $63,000 in debt.
Just from gambling?
Yes, just from gambling. Okay. What I would do is I would gamble the money. I would go gamble the money. It wasn't like $5,000 a month or anything. What it was I would go gamble money here and there, and then it would be time to buy groceries, and that money I had gambled. So what we would do is we would put the groceries on the credit card, and it just went on and on and on every year. And people say, how do you get into $62,000 of credit card debt? Well, you do it $1,000 at a time. And if you go 5 years going about $900 a month over your limit of living, you're $62,000 in debt. And so that's, we had done that over those years. The same way you get overweight. You eat 500 calories more a day than you should, and about 10 years down the road, you're 300 or 400 pounds. It's the way it happens, slowly.
Yeah.
In the process, my wife was losing her hair. She didn't know what to do with me. She was like, how do I make him change? You know, I don't understand why this is happening to us. It was very confusing.
In the 2 minutes that we have left in this segment, Darci, can you just quickly tell us how you felt about the fact that your husband was addicted to food, addicted to gambling, and I don't know what else, but he had a lot of issues. And I'm sure you're not perfect, even though you sound perfect. What were you thinking?
Well, it was a really confusing time for me because, we are Christians and we live our life on the foundation of Christ. And so for me, it was really, I wanted to make it about Danny and what was going on with him, but it was really what was going on with me because I was ignoring everything in my life. I was, just playing games that, well, if we're Christians, God's good and everything's supposed to be good, so it is good. Not realizing that, he's 460 pounds, he works all the time, but yet we have no money, and I ignored everything. And I don't know, God just really started dealing with me and having to be real and paying attention to what was really going on instead of ignoring it and acting like it wasn't there. So it was an interesting process. If you read our book, you'll find out that I was in La La Land a little bit.
Oh.
And I played games.
Briefly, in 30 seconds, what was a game you would play?
Everything's great. We're doing wonderful because we serve in the church and we are doing children's ministry and music ministry and doing all these things, but yet at home everything was miserable.
Yeah, you were Pollyanna positive. Everything was great, and then while in the background behind the curtain, your life's falling apart.
Yeah, and I know that
strange, but I think there's other people that do.
Oh, I think there are a lot of people. I'm glad you admitted it because I would think there are a lot of people out there doing the same thing. I'm going to tell everybody that in the next segment, we're going to talk about some specific tips that you want to give people because I know some of the reason that some people are tuning into this today is because they have weight to lose. And I have friends that are over 300 pounds and are really struggling, and they don't get it. They don't get what the key is to finally get there. And I have a feeling that both of you have some tips, and a lot of it for you is lining up with what God has for you.